Good day everyone, my name is Raname H. Scala from BEd 1 PUP General Luna Campus. I will present to you my presentation about Don Quixote de la Mancha with his author Miguel de Cervantes Saavedra. Literary genre novel title Don Quixote de la Mancha. Background continent and country Spain. Author Miguel de Cervantes. Miguel de Cervantes, with his full name Miguel de Cervantes Saavedra, born on September 29, 1547 and died on April 22, 1616 in Madrid. He is a Spanish novelist, playwright, and poet, the creator of Don Quixote on 1605 to 1615. Son of a poor doctor, did not have a humanist education. Literary analysis. Plot. The plot is settled in the 16th century in a small town in Lamancha, Spain. A 50-year-old nobleman Alonso Quijano lives there. He is tall, skinny, and a hunting nutritionist. His boring life made his search for fun and excitement, and all chivalry novels where the knights fought against giants, dragons, and other creatures save the woman they love. He dived too deep into the invented world that he lost his mind and decided to renew chivalry. He found an old armor, a rusty sword, and a helmet. He took his horse Rocinante and went in search of adventure. His horse didn't share his enthusiasm because he was already old. Parts of plot. Exposition. The story starts off with Don Quixote in La Mancha. He was already driven insane by books of chivalry and finally decided to sit out. He does not get far to before he is brought back home after being injured, and while he is in bed, his books are born. Conflict. Sancho's trickery in the incident with the peasant woman and Samson's deception about his identity emphasized the willingness of Don Quixote first to engage him in his world of deception in fantasy. Sancho is motivated by self-interest, whereas other characters play along due either to a desire to help Don Quixote or a need for a diversion. Samson reveals that he has been plotting with the priest and the barber to vanquish Don Quixote and to order him to go home for 2 years. Samson's squire leaves him, but Samson vows revenge on Don Quixote. Climax. Soon after everyone starts getting Don Quixote back towards home, they arrive at inn. While staying at this end, a few fights erupt between Sancho and the barber. These small quarrels lead to Don Quixote and most of his male allies fighting against men from the Holy Brotherhood. Resolution. At the end of this novel, the current barbers, the canon, and Sancho ended up trying to take Don Quixote back to La Mancha by force. The group's son arrived at La Mancha and Sancho was able to return to his family while Don Quixote was to be nursed back to health. The curate then told Don Quixote's niece to watch in case Don Quixote tried to go on another adventure. It will seem that they will try to cure of his insanity or at least prevent him from going on to adventure again. To all this effort must end up going to waste due to the end of the story saying when the niece of Don Quixote has feared that when he gets better he will leave them again. Type of plot. Comedy. The dynamics of the comedy in this story are simple. Don Quixote believes that the romances he has read and strives to live them out, and it is his action in the situation that he finds himself in during his adventure that make the reader laugh. Characters. Protagonist Don Quixote. Antagonist Samson Carazo. Supporting characters Teresa Panza, Sancho Panza, the Duke and Duchess, said Hamlet Binangali, Cardenio, the Prias, the Barber, Dorothea. Lucinda, Don Fernando, Jeans de Pasamonte, Altisidora, Countess, Rookie Ginart, Rocinante, Dapol. Conflict. Don Quixote set out with Sancho Panza on a life of chivalry adventure in a world no longer governed by chivalry values. The priest attempts to bring Don Quixote home and cure his madness. Settings. The work opens in a village of Lamancha in Spain, where a country gentleman infatuation with books of chivalry leads him to decide to become a knight-errant, and he assumed the name of Don Quixote. Theme. Don Quixote is a novel about a man in his square trying to prove that chivalry is not dead and aspiring to be heroes. Point of view. Cervantes narrates most of the novel action in the third person, following Don Quixote action and only occasionally entering into the thoughts of his characters. He switches into the first person, however, whenever he discusses the novel itself of Bengali original manuscript. Reflection. If you were the protagonist and antagonist, will you do the same? How would you feel? Do you think fair unfair is the protagonist victim of circumstance? How about the antagonist or villains? As a protagonist and the antagonist are two characters in a story that have opposing a goal. The protagonists want to achieve something while the antagonists try to their best to stop them from succeeding. If I were protagonist, I will also do what he did be. Honest, noble, proud, and idealistic. He wanted to save the world. As smart as he mad, Don Quixote begins as an observed and isolated figure and, and, and ends as a poor and lovely to old man whose strength and wisdom have filled him. How did the literary piece affect you as an individual? Literary influences us and make us understand the every walk of life. Narratives in particular inspire empathy and give people a new perspective on their lives and the lives of others. What values learning did you gain from reading the story novel? Don Quixote teaches us that life is to be challenges. That passion and discipline of a determined soul are our foundational element of being a leader. Quixote does not accept a current reality. He forces his creative imagery, his commitment is and his happening on it. What cultures are reflected in the story? Don Quixote has been an inspiration for Spain with his complex personality as well as for his contribution to the Spanish language. What is the contemporary relevance of this story novel? At the time when comic books pushed underdogs into the mainstream success, young readers relate to Don Quixote because he is the prototype of the modern superhero, a man who created a new identity, made his own armor, costume, and fought to change the world into a better place. To whom, a friend relative, would you recommend this literary piece to read? To my friend and relative in the same way, Don Quixote is not only a cautionary tale about the perils of idealism. Among other things, it also the first great book about books, a visionary parable about the responsibilities of reading and writing fiction that arrived early on the age of printing. If you were to rewrite this story, novel, what will you be your title? Why? If we were to rewrite the title of Don Quixote, it will be Impractical Idealism, which means is referring to the way of thinking that's mostly associated with dreamers who either never follow through and pursue their lofty ideals or who do so in impractical or unrealistic ways. Here my link about Don Quixote if you want to read this.